forbidding locomotives from the provisions of the Republic of China. 67 years, 1978, began to appear, and by then Taipei Mayor Li Tenghui put forward, and then Taiwan, in the period of martial law. No one would dare to resist the government under the command of people only, except copies and people who dared argue, I guess, all in the event. February 28, 1947, the years the government gave out the White Terror, so in Taiwan, and the rest of the people, most of them are obedient, or little people do not want to stir up trouble for the elderly, who bears a strong prime. Righteous people who thought, I can only guess. God has met with T-bar when the government ordered to implement the provisions of the forbidden line locomotives, euphemistically, say in order to bypass the steam locomotive. The locomotive to protect and implement this policy, but really steam locomotive shunting it. Car or bus lanes everywhere at home and abroad, including the drilling console, even automobile, bus, gravel trucks, often crowded in the outside lane to the passenger to be temporarily stopped to get into the site, but the inside lane was empty, and so empty lane has been restricted. Locomotive cannot go on the grounds that in order to protect the locomotive, can you believe it? I do not believe, especially in the more traveled outside friends, this lie and say that you want to protect the locomotive. Locomotive limit policy increasingly untenable. It does not matter that you did not been abroad, you can ask your traveled outside friends, had lived abroad, or foreign friends around the world have no such provision. Have no such drive a car as human. Motorcycle riding is the pariah of the provisions. The whole earth is only Taiwan. This, the forbidden line locomotive of planning, is indeed a form of discrimination. I sometimes privately will chat with many friends. Do you think that the road traffic among ethnic groups which are relatively protected, first, Spinelli, second, bus family, the third, locomotive family, IV, bike race, fifth, pedestrians? Most people will feel the beginning, pedestrian and bicycle race, to be protected. Yes, exactly right. Both types are on the road and are relatively protected, no housing types, and are not used another motor engine to make it move, so you can see a lot of traffic planning. The stressed zebra pedestrian priority again, although the bike is a tool with wheels, but riding the route is not very suitable for riding on the road, but is suitable for riding on the sidewalk, and when riding a bicycle, you want to give way to pedestrians first, and bicycles smooth. To put in pedestrian safety as a precondition in order to make these two types of pedestrian and bicycle safety with both efficiency and thus good policy that locomotive, car, bus groups do. Locomotive cannot always put the sidewalk when traffic routes. Car, let alone a bus, traveling on the sidewalk, so the locomotive, car, bus. These three types of vehicles will often have the opportunity, in the limited width of the asphalt road above, together use the same roads. But also because of this, the locomotive will be higher than bicycle and pedestrian. Automobile, bus more often encountered in close contact with gravel trucks, so, compared to the risk of pedestrian and bicycle race, motorcycle race living is higher than pedestrian and bicycle groups. Again, the locomotive, car, bus, because most often use the same kind of road routes. However, there is no locomotive steel protection. According to the truth, it should be necessary to protect the motorcycle race for the former title to plan traffic rules. This is the humane approach, but Taiwan how it feels not to protect the motorcycle race, but rather to limit it. Even think that is transitional locomotive vehicles should be eliminated, but also that everyone will be open to the last four cars. But this early thinking with the proof of the changing times, the locomotive was not because of the time after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years in the past, and fewer, but has changed much, so locomotive in Taiwan, not the transitional nature of the product, become a necessity. More and more people, for commuting to school, for messenger delivery room, had almost become a no. Locomotive will make life inconvenient. State locomotive increased rather than decreased. The locomotive is not the time to prove transitional product. If you really want to do triage steam Locomotive. Not only forbidden line locomotives should be forbidden line locomotive forbidding car at the same time to be planning. Such planning is to protect but iron vulnerable should be protected, because the car has a strong self-protection device, and there are metal shell autonomous vehicle protection. The government has the wrong direction, continuing to strengthen the protection of meat ironclad cars. Continuing oppression bun iron locomotive. This misconception has been brainwashed with the next generation. Have been brainwashed. Locomotive is very dangerous. Why not go to face danger? Why would a good locomotive dangerous? Why locomotive always makes people feel dangerous. This tool is a locomotive dangerous mean, or motorcycle in the accident. The injured driver quantity was only identified as at risk. Is it because of a car accident? The overwhelming majority of injured motorcycle race, while the proportion of motorists injured in motorcycle driving far below, and this phenomenon, so that people think that the locomotive is a dangerous means of transport. This is wrong. In fact, it is not. Proper driving habits is the main cause of danger, not because motorcycle casualties. Therefore, the locomotive is branded dangerous. The stigma of transport. It is not fair nor objective and rational of the mention of proper driving habits. This is what I want to mention, the focus of this article. A man, how he was able to give the driver a tool qualification, license. Yes, that is the license. But, automobile motorcycle test system according to Taiwan, improve it, until 2014. I personally think that the test system according to the steam locomotive is really very bad. Locomotive test photos, but still only around AU examination. Slumped again and go for a walk to see the lights on. Get away. However, the outrageous is that, in this abuse has been so loosely float according to the rules of the test. But there are still people of examination in this test according to the rules of loose floating. Abuse. Production and driving them out is what a dangerous factor, not rigorous test photos. Riding a motorcycle to go out, your risk will only increase. Consequential. Driving people around will become a victim of a car accident, and less harm beneficial. If into a road, real field test photos, dangers without first teaching, without first giving the right defensive driving concept, alone, that AU examination. Give the people a driver's license, and then the people put to dangerous traffic environment. To fend for themselves. This behaviors is simply human life. Completely do not pay attention. Like the man thrown into a forest full of wild beasts, people think of ways to survive. Brutal game just like the real version. Let people really driving the locomotive. An accident on the road, ranging from bruises, bandaged limbs, broken moderate. The worst is Tianranyang. A moment of life and death. These phenomena are all government influx. The first step is not rigorous loose floating abuse test according to the system. Good. Ling Ling Yo government first test photos to use, and then a year, over 18 years old to take a shine to produce a batch after batch of dangerous driving. Who come to put these dangerous driving? Launched Lane Road. Get listed on the court battle. Then Luanzuan fluttering chaos chaotic direction of light bend. Do not play with the big car ride. Dead car veered reverse chaos chaotic mess like racing bunch. Government took over the chaos to suppress ethnic locomotive. Government says, you see, you motorcycle race is a group of demons. Open the door like a ghost out of the evildoer. Luanzuan fluttering chaos chaotic direction of light bend. Do not play with the big car ride. Dead car veered reverse chaos chaotic mess like racing bunch. So you locomotives groups are supposed to be banned. More fishes should take locomotives from Taiwan wiped out. Who? We look back problem. These Ling Ling Yo driving. Who gave them a qualified driving license? Answer, yes, the government. Question, that the government created by the low-level drivers. To who is responsible? Answer, to be responsible for the people. Really as hell. Oh, are they wrong? Recklessly driving license. Traffic chaos again. Blame the people. No wonder the locomotive has been demonized. Groups. Because from the first step the government fucks. Then, after arising out of the question, and the whole cast back to a motorcycle race to bear. No wonder motorcycle groups, no matter what kind of horsepower to drive cars, when you want to come out for the interests of rational, always boo-boos always higher than the encouragement of sound that even the motorcycle race. And he in turn told to fight for the interests of the people, said, "You did it wrong and very dangerous. Locomotive cannot do is to silence as the locomotive. So noble carmen sees the use of the road, not with man trouble. Locomotive obediently do not resist, a product of 228 events under it, yes. The vast majority of people, including motorcycle race, feel the locomotive should not go right to the original can be used, but in turn drag locomotive ethnic water. It's no wonder, because the locomotive to get a driver's license, it was found, according to how the test field, given my information, encounter with the real situation of the road, how such a big difference. Naturally felt really good to go out driving locomotive. Yet terrible danger if they see a good group of people to fight for the interests of the locomotive. The wow, it was horrible. They say this with government requirements. Just let me be afraid to flash the urine. So I cannot believe how the locomotive can be compared with the car. You have these people must be getting us killed. Heresy. People's children die endless. You really are the aspirations of extremist ideas kill. Look just from the first step. According to the government's test loose, you can train so many thugs to wear down their own ethnic group effort. Locomotive lists can give birth to so many reasons. This tool allows the locomotive become pariah's tool is not suitable for normal, originally entitled to the rights that can be used. According to this model, continue to produce dangerous motorcycle driving, the more likely to push the forbidden line locomotive, and even Jinma order, so that the whole area, it cannot have a motorcycle, because it's all in the government's inaction under the policy, derived from the knock-on effect. So that the family wanted to fight right to the locomotive. The locomotive can be their own ethnic group to kill one of us. There is no need to fight. Government actions, motorcycle race. And finally waiting for the locomotive of this tool per run, after officials will be able to eliminate. Cool black car sat. Sighing, you see. Our city more advanced really Danyan human thought. Thank you for reading the above article. Brother, hope you do not mind the limited capacity. Finally, I would like to say that I agree with the first test photos to promote the strengthening of the system, so that the locomotive driver can increase survival and reduce the accident rate, which is both to protect themselves, but also to protect other road users, so that they are safe, their friends and relatives at ease. This is to allow everyone to better plan. So safe on the road, adds to a point, plus you can go home on the traffic safely, so that their loved ones' peace of mind at ease.